Normally I try to steer away from either exploits or things that are so cheesy they're guaranteed to get patched out at some point, but every now and then there's some things that are so juicy and so much fun, even someone like me can appreciate them, and today we're going to dive into what I've seen so far is the most cheesy breakdown, allowing you to conquer all of Kislev. We'll get all the legendary lords by turn 3 in a way which allows you to stabilize all of Kislev by turn 8 if you want to go balls to the wall. This works on any difficulty, but more importantly this is going to be a great lesson of how the diplomacy system and underlying mechanics actually work in Total Warhammer 3, as well as help you understand just how confederations do work. So I'll explain the things as they come that I think will possibly be patched out, but there's a lot of core mechanics here that you can really apply to any given situation. If I were you, and if you are a big Kislev fan and want all the lords to start off with, I would replicate this and then save a copy of it, because when they do patch it, it only takes 1 or 2 tweaks of the diplomacy system and this might not work. So let's start ourselves a brand new Immortal Empires campaign, selecting Boris Ursus on legendary difficulty with everything turned on. Although you can auto-resolve all these battles, I'll give you some tips if you want to fight them manually, because this allows you to get more experience on your bears rather than your more disposable units. Before we kick off this walkthrough, I'd like to shout out a couple of the online multiplayer campaigns. If you're a player looking to do head-to-head campaigns worldwide, there is the head-to-head server, and specifically Australians or New Zealanders, where we're on the opposite side of the clock, there's the Oceanic server. Both of those will be linked in the comments below, and check out the Elven Plot Armor Discord, and all those links are there too. So kicking off turn 1, quite simply, join your hero to your army and then attack the first army. You can do this manually. If you do, just cast Slap at the corner, allowing gaps in your line for your armored Cossacks to fire through. Make sure you target the Flesh Hounds first, because those mobile characters are what will get through. Tear them up with your bears. For this demonstration, we're going to auto-resolve and then just take the gold. Attack the settlement, occupy, and there you go. Make sure Boris gets Round Marcher and put a point in Inspiring Presence. Your Patriarch should always prioritize replenishment, as well as Salyak's Lullaby to help heal your characters and keep them alive. For research, go for Convalescence, boosting your growth, and of course that replenishment will be very, very important later on. Finally, meet Malachi Mackayson and trade a trade agreement for war with the Maggot Kin. End your turn. Just a quick reminder guys, if you are enjoying the video, please consider liking and subscribing, it really helps out. Ask any question in the comments, I answer everything, and if you'd like to talk strategy, feel free to join the Discord. Cheers. Turn 2, if you blink, you'll miss it. Take your brand new Boyar, switch him over into Force March, and move him towards the Frozen Landing. Your other Lord Boris, put him also in Force March, and send him sailing towards the other settlement. Now, turn 3, this is where all the magic happens and we'll confederate everyone here. Now, there's 2 things that could change that will completely stump this current run. Now, currently, there is no confederation penalty and no subsequent turns after confederating until you can confederate again with Kislev. Yes, you can daisy chain from one confederation to another, so that's one issue, and if they decide to change that, then this won't work and you'll only be able to confederate one of them. The other element is the fact that once you declare war then peace out, it essentially resets your relationship and allows you to do all sorts of shenanigans like you'll see here. And I guess the third component is settlement trading, which you'll typically only see me do in a more realistic strategic way in my campaigns, like making a border province, a border ally, moving away from terrain that's uninhabitable typically. But today you're going to see in all the balls to war glory what you can do in terms of abusing the settlement trading mechanic. So firstly, take your secondary lord and then colonize the Frozen Landing. Now switch Boris Ursus off Force March and then just auto-resolve this battle and occupy the settlement. Easy done. Okay, now we'll have eyes on our first Confederation target, and that is the Robsman clan. Now the way this works is you have, of course, your overall attitude and relationship value. Typically every minor treaty will give you +10, for example non-aggression, trade, but also a small gift will give you 10. Now medium gifts will give you 20 and generous gifts 40, so these give you more and they will give you a longer lasting benefit. So typically if you can afford a cheap generous gift, it is good to do that if this is to be someone in the long term you don't want to attack you. However, if you're confederating them on a single turn, then multiples of the small gift, at least as far as I've seen, are by far the better way to do it. Well, we're going to keep on giving small gifts until our gift would go over 1,000. So this is 858. We're okay. So count your head. That's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, this would take us over 1,000. So instead, we're now going to gift the frozen landing. This will give us a huge amount of gold, but it will deplete their treasury. Now, gifts are relative. If you go up to a multimillionaire and say, here's $100, they're not really going to be that impressed. But if you go to someone who's not doing so well on the streets, they're going to say, yes, please. Everything is relative, and that is the same here. When we've cleared them out of cash, then a smaller amount is going to impress them. So you notice our small gift amount is now back down to 544. So let's give them this. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, this would go over 1,000 again. We'll trade our remaining settlement to top up our coffers and also drain him of his. Okay, and again. And as you see, we're getting closer and closer to 230. 230 is our magical number. So we're just going to keep on giving small gifts. 30, that's 220. And finally, 230. Okay. Now it's at 230, we can now declare war.
Together, our might makes right.
And then we can now also peace out without any problems. So when you peace out, always sign non-aggression and military access at the same time. And then the trade agreement plus defensive alliance together. So make that your standard protocol when you're peacing out. Get all the minor treaties except for trade, and then do trade and defensive alliance together. An easy rule of thumb that'll get you there most of the time. And now you can military ally. So we're still a little bit out, -5. So how do we get him to need us more? We need to put more pressure on him. He needs more enemies that are in close proximity to him. So the Lazars, these ogres here, will be our next target. So we are going to attack them. And by declaring war, we'd rope him in as a military ally. He's also very weak, so he's likely to say yes. Now, once they've agreed to join one war, they are far more likely to agree to future wars, because we're still not quite there. Oh, we are. Okay, cool. That worked. Now, if that doesn't work, you can then attack this Zinchian minor faction here, the All-Seeing Eyes. Declare war on them, he'll join that war, and then he will be fine to confederate. So let's confederate our first lord. Very good. Okay, that's one down. Now we need to get eyes on Costalton. This means we need to move an army over to the west just a bit. So take your starting army here. But first, just hire a new lord. If you have anyone that can give you a few extra supporters, then do that. Hire a lord. Drop off the troops, because we're only using this lord to scout. Run this lord to the bridge. Just here on this road, you will now have eyes on Costalton. Now, when we confederated, we gained back all of our old territory. It's time to rinse and repeat and do what we just did. So let's give small gifts until we're going to trip over that 1,000 gold benchmark. That's 2 gold. That's 2. This will take us over 1,000, so let's bring that down by gifting a settlement, and we'll give him Prague, which is a lot of money, but it will also really empty him out. There we are. So just keep on giving small gifts. Alright, let's just stick with this rule of thumb. It just simply works. Now, Costalton is a grouchy old man, and he's a little bit harder to please, but that's okay because we got plenty of real estate to give to him. So let's give him the frozen landing. And you know what, let's just give him everything else. So let's declare war, meaning he's not going to take so much offense when we do declare war and then ask for his forgiveness in exchange for the 2 minor contracts. Let's keep on getting our dollar. Okay, now, to join Confederation, we still have a bit to go. So first we need to initiate a war that we know he'll join to build his trust as a military ally. So let's declare war on this minor Norscan faction, and he has followed us in as a good military ally. If you try to attack someone too strong, he might not follow you in, but now we have his trust, so we should be able to rope him into anything else. So first, trade Volksgrad for war with the Maggot-kin and the Bloody Swords up here. Now secondary, if you didn't need to declare war on the All-Seeing Eye to get the ropes from the Confederation, these will still be a neutral faction, so declare war on them, and that will rope the Great Orthodoxy in as well. Clan Mulder, declare war. He's followed us in. Very good. Do we have eyes on Azazel? We do. Now declare war on him. These are some powerful factions that will be swaying him to our Confederation. Okay, 11 points left. So we can get another big lump sum by declaring war on Goldfag, who's just on his doorstep, and this will help put the heat on. Declare war. Now, these last few points can be really, really tricky to get. But you still have some options. You can declare war on the Empire factions just on his doorstep. So let's just declare war on Ostland. Right on the corner here, we should be able to peace out with them in due course. And honestly, the ramifications really aren't that bad because we'll peace out almost straight away. And that should have done it. If not, declare war on Nordland. We've got our Confederation. Welcome to the club. We've also taken all of both his territories and our territories. So we have some more property to play with. Alright, next target is Katarin. So you know what we're doing, we're going to keep on giving gifts, and we're already at the 1,000, so that's fine. As always, we're starting off with Plex, emptying out her coffers, so our gifts are once again far more affordable. Now you can definitely save some time by going for generous gifts, but if you want to guarantee that you won't run out of money, the more economical option is to go for multiples of smaller gifts, like so. Okay, there's 1,000, so the next settlement, Frozen Landing. Just basically following the exact same pattern. Now we've emptied her out of gold again, and we're going to do the honors of gifting it all back to her. So she's got 1,000 as her requirement for a small gift. So Shock Dragon for money. Cool. And once again, so each settlement does give you 40 to your relations as well. Or one more. Declare war. And peace back out again. Cool, relations are looking good. Alright, trade the trade treaty and the defensive alliance, plus make a little bit in the process. Military alliance, cool. Alright. Okay, we're looking at much better this time. It's optional, you can trade Erengrad for a little bit more relations, but that's not necessary just yet. So what we're going to do instead is use the settlements as basically bribery to get her to join our wars. But first, we need a nice weak enemy. Now these minor Ogre Kingdom factions can be quite useful as well because they're not really going to give you much hassle. And they do actually surprisingly give you usually a couple of points. Down to 15, cool. Saberskin as well. Cool. Alright, we need her to join the war with Clan Mulder, so we're going to trade Volgrad for that. Let's see if she'll join this war. There she will. And she'll even give us a few bucks for the trouble, so that's taken us down another notch. Let's keep on trading settlements. Let's go Prague. So for Prague, we can get the Man-Eaters and the Maggot-kin. Oh, we're only one away now, so very, very close. Now, because Katarin does own these settlements, she will feel the heat from the All-Seeing Eye, so we're going to make them the target. We trade for Erengrad. Let's do it. And that's done it. You can most likely do that without declaring so many wars. If you're really desperate, you can declare war on Draco, and that will certainly get you there, but failing that, I think it's easier to actually just declare war on Nordland, because after this is all done, you'll be able to patch things up and peace out with them anyway. But you can gift Castle Alexandrov, and that'll give you even more heat if you declare war on Nordland. So let's confederate, Caterin, get all of our settlements back, and we can now rinse and repeat this process with our final Confederation target, the Brotherhood of the Bear. They don't have much, but they don't need much. You keep on gifting until you have that 1,000, and you gift away your tiny, weaker settlements, giving you a lot of cash, making them very broke and making them far easier to confederate. And now you have all of Kislev essentially under your control, barring a few pesky rodents in the middle, and that is the biggest challenge for you to get rid of. So now the game is in your control. This is where there's a few dicey things to get rid of, but because primarily you have on this border, you have an army here, but they're not too difficult. You will probably lose Plex, so build up an army on Volksgrad. Additionally, also Prague, switch over to your recruitment edict, giving you 2 additional recruitment slots, and this also can be done in Kislev. Now you can march Zarina, Caterin. You could try to take Fort Yukova. It's quite a difficult settlement to take, so feel free to use this lord and hire some extra troops to banding them up with her. You can take this, and then with a secondary army, take this minor settlement, completing this province, giving you a fantastic 4-settlement province. This also gets you ready to pounce on Azag, and this does require some force, so don't dive blindly into this. He can get a wire ready and counterattack, so just make sure you've got yourself a good army before expanding down here. You don't have eyes on Dryka just yet, so that's not a problem, but moving this way you can usually make peace with not just Ostland, but if you also had to declare war on Nordland, you can probably peace out on them too. And additionally, you do risk losing this minor settlement to Azazel, but you can also hire armored Kossars. Make sure you get the great weapon version. You don't need shields when versing Slanesh. And across this northern border, this is your biggest threat, taking out the Hell Pit and taking out these armies. There's a lot of them. You will need to build up your forces, so don't be scared to go all out getting some good solid infantry, because that is the way you can quite easily outgrind Clan Mulder. Hire some additional troops with this secondary army and go in for the kill, taking out Golgfag and his army. He will have another camp around here, so just keep an eye out for that. But this campaign should be yours. Have some fun with this. Maybe save a slot down so you can just boot up a campaign anytime with all your legendary lords and consolidate Kislev nice and early. Special shout out to the head-to-head player Plex. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much, as well as Felix. Appreciate your time. Like, share, sub if you enjoyed it. This is Alvin. I'll see you next time.